It's December, almost Christmas in Medellin, and this scopolamine queen believes she has found another victim. But she was wrong, as this particular encounter will trigger off a set of events that will completely change her life. After drugging her victim using scopolamine or another sedative, driven by greed, she disappears with his belongings without care if he lives or he dies. As she waits for her accomplices, she doesn't realize that her actions will have consequences. Her name is Maria Alejandra Salgado Ortega, and she has been a menace to hundreds of tourists in Medellin and in different cities in Colombia. For many years, she had been drugging and robbing victims with impunity, sneaking in and out of apartments without any fear of justice, leaving her victims dazed and confused, wondering what had just happened. But she had gone against the wrong one, and in a quest for justice, he wasn't about to let her go freely. They always lie and claim it's a false accusation when they've been caught, but this time, things are gonna end up extremely different for this scopolamine queen. Some say that it's all a show and that Obilan never actually put any of these demons behind bars. And so if you know, you know. In tears after being caught in a city-wide investigation where the Obilan team provided significant information, this scopolamine queen's life would change forever. She had drugged and robbed the wrong victim, and as a consequence is facing years behind bars. And so this is the story of Maria Ortega and how her victim Fritz and the Obilan team helped bring her to justice.
I was in search of love, I thought I'll go to Colombia, I'll meet the girl of my dreams and stay there with her as long as I need to, maybe help her get a visa or a work visa with my company to come back to the United States. I know it was probably all wishful thinking now that I've been here a while. I feel violated, and a guy like me might take it harder because I like to feel like I'm in control, and I probably feel feelings of revenge more than the average guy. I don't know, I'm really angry about it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still really angry about it. No one likes to be robbed. I probably take something like that more personal than most.
Maria Alejandra Salgado Ortega, a devious scopolamine queen based in Medellin, Colombia. And this is the man who would change her life. His name is Fritz. She had thought that he was just another victim, but she had underestimated his resolve. For the purposes of this documentary, Fritz would like to share his story from the very beginning.
I had a rough past few years. I moved to a very remote area of the Midwest from Miami, Florida, and I started a real estate company there.
A successful businessman, Fritz is the owner of a real estate company specializing in developing properties. With a hands-on approach, he turned his company into a successful business, but the same couldn't be said about his love life.
My girlfriend of 9 years started seeing someone else behind my back. I wasn't aware of it. I found out a year later after it all started. And then there was a law there, or the common law marriage was in effect in that particular state. So without ever being married, I now was faced with having to go through a divorce.
As a result of ending his relationship, Fritz will face financial consequences.
It settled out with her taking half of my assets, a fitness center that I owned in town, a hotel, and a handful of log cabins. Now I found myself stuck single in this very remote area of the Midwest in the United States with, there's just no nightlife.
Living in a remote area after the breakup of his relationship, Fritz would spend a lot of time alone. Mentally and financially exhausted, Fritz knew that something had to change.
After that breakup, I was really going through it mentally, because I was in this big 6-bedroom house all by myself, and like I said, in a very remote area of the United States.
Frustrated with the way things were and with his solitary lifestyle, Fritz began to research the idea of traveling outside the United States in a bid to escape the pressure he'd been facing mentally back home.
I'd been seeing, different advertisements and content on Instagram and Facebook about Medellin, Colombia, and it seemed like kind of the new single guy's dream destination.
And so Fritz and his friends will book a flight to Medellin, Colombia.
Decided to book a flight and come down here. So we flew down. I had heard about the dangers of Americans coming down here, and I had heard about this drug that girls will put in a drink and then they'll rob you, but I didn't think it would ever happen to me. I felt, well, I'm a bigger guy, they'd probably find an easier target. Maybe some old guy, it wouldn't happen to me.
But Fritz was wrong, because in Medellin, Colombia, the scopolamine queens don't discriminate. Everyone is fair game, male or female, and your age doesn't really matter, because all they care about is drugging you and stealing your belongings. As Fritz enjoys the nightlife of Provenza in Medellin, Colombia, he is fully unaware of the dangers that lurk. And so it is easy to assume, with all the fine bright lights, that nothing could happen to them. And that is the most common mistake from tourists when visiting Colombia.
Down here, had a great time with my friends. They decided to go back to the United States on our scheduled return flight. I decided I wasn't quite ready to leave and was not looking forward to going back to the cold, the snow, and a lonely, empty house by myself. So I decided to stay by myself, and that's what led into me meeting a girl on Bumble.
Fritz would then open up the Bumble application, where he'll come across Maria's profile. She was using a fake name. The two will later match, and they will arrange for a date in Provenza.
We were supposed to meet earlier for dinner. She kept blowing me off and pushing the time back and pushing the time back. And next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's calling me, wanting to meet up. I thought, well, I got nothing to lose, and didn't really think of anything suspicious.
And so Fritz headed to Provenza. He only lived 30 seconds away, and so he felt he had nothing to lose as he made a quick walk and waited for Maria.
But I did meet up with her, and it was in the Provenza area where there's a lot of restaurants. Although she kind of stayed hidden, called me, wanted me to meet her.
And so Fritz will wait for Maria in Provenza. Waiting patiently, it will take some time before Maria finally appears.
When I saw her, I realized quickly that it was not the girl in the facial photos of the ad. The body photos I could recognize, but the face, she really had had a lot of plastic surgery done, kind of looked like a bulldog or kind of a pug dog. She was not very attractive at all, but she did have a very nice figure. She seemed really nice. She was dressed really nice. 3 o'clock in the morning, and normally I would have been like, no thank you, and turned and walked away, but I thought, well, let me just have a drink with her.
And so Fritz tried to make the most of this impromptu date as they looked around Provenza for any bars or restaurants that were still open.
We found out that most of the bars were closed. She wanted to go right back to my apartment, which I was okay with, and so we did that.
At 3:49 a.m. in the morning, Fritz and Maria will arrive back at his apartment. He was unaware that this woman, Maria, is very dangerous and that this encounter will prove to be very costly.
And immediately upon getting into the apartment, she wanted something to drink. And I really didn't have much. My friends had just left a couple days prior. There was some old, stale Coca-Cola in the fridge in a liter bottle.
And so this is the point we believe that Maria would lace Fritz's drink with a sedative, most likely clonazepam. As she heads back to where Fritz is sitting, he is completely unaware.
I sat on the couch and started watching some music videos on YouTube. And then she started giving me a massage and commenting on, oh, you look like you work out a lot, and oh, you must be tense. Let me give you a massage. And that was fine. That was nice. And she continuously tried to get me to have a sip of her drink, and I didn't want any. I don't like Coca-Cola, and especially some old Coke that had been sitting in the fridge with no fizz in it anymore. I just wasn't interested. So I continuously was saying no, no, no. Finally, she got up, she took the drink, come from behind me when I wasn't really paying attention, put her hand under my chin, leaned my head back, and poured some of it. Some of it got in my mouth. The rest of it poured all down my chin and neck. And I kind of got up and got a towel and cleaned myself off and told her not to do that again. And then I sat back down, and I started to think this was all getting really suspicious. And I started to wonder if she had drugged me, but I didn't taste anything weird. And I started to wonder. And I actually remember telling myself, this is maybe how I'm gonna die.
Forcing the drink into Fritz's mouth, it appears that Maria had struck again.
And then I thought, well, I didn't really drink enough. I mean, it was a little bit that slid down my throat. It couldn't have been enough. The back massage and head scratches and everything, neck massage she was doing felt really good. And I just thought that maybe I was overreacting a little bit or overthinking a little bit, and that this nice girl wouldn't do that to me.
And so, with no immediate effects of the drug, Fritz believed that he was wrong and that Maria had no malicious intent.
We sat there for a while, watched another music video, and then she asked if we could go in the bedroom. She wanted to give me a full body massage. She was continuously complimenting me on my physique and this and that, and she knew what she was doing. And so I remember I plugged my phone in, I laid down on the bed. She started giving me a back massage, and that was it. I woke up probably 15 hours later, shot up out of bed in this fog. I couldn't put together really where I was.
Confused, Fritz would wake up 15 hours later, wondering what had happened. Not much of an alcohol drinker, he immediately suspected that he had been drugged.
I looked for my phone, I couldn't find my phone, but I see my phone charger without a phone connected to it. And I specifically remember plugging it in because the battery was really low. And that's gone. So now I'm like, oh shit. So I got up, walked to the other room, my computer's gone. And then next thing I do is go check my pants. Well, my money's gone. Next thing I did is look for my passport. That was there because that was hidden. I just couldn't figure out. My brain wasn't really working. It was like in a fog. I couldn't piece together what I should do.
With the drug still in his body, Fritz is in a daze. He's confused. Everything appears foggy as he paces up and down his apartment, confused about what to do next.
So I ended up, after pacing back and forth for what seemed like an hour, I eventually left the condo and just started walking around, realizing I didn't have any money, and just started walking around until my landlord saw me, flagged me down. He said there was a lot of people looking for me and calling him. Supposedly, my mom had received a phone call, or not a phone call, but a text message requesting the front and back of my ID.
By this time, Maria had already forwarded Fritz's financial information to her criminal accomplices in Bogota. From our investigations, a guy called Juan is instrumental in the withdrawal of thousands of dollars, with his Instagram focusing on devilish symbols.
She got access into my cell phone. With that access, she could open and use my Venmo and also my Cash App account. So she was able to extract money. I think the maximum was $2,000 a day. I don't know, it was probably $10,000 and $13,000.
Through the help of a detective, Fritz would then make a police report before heading back to the United States.
You know, I kind of went back to the United States with my tail between my legs and felt defeated. You know, here I went to Colombia. You know, I honestly was planning on staying for a while, and I was in search of love. You know, I thought, well, I'll go to Colombia, I'll meet the girl of my dreams, and, you know, stay there with her as long as I need to, maybe help her get a visa or a work visa with my company to come back to the United States. I mean, I know it was probably all wishful thinking now that I've been here a while. After being there for a week back home in the US, I just started building up all this anger, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this get me down. I'm gonna go back there. And I was on a mission to find her.
And so, feeling frustrated with what had happened and in a quest to find justice, less than 3 weeks later, Fritz boarded a plane from the United States back to Medellin, Colombia.
I had another friend from Germany who was living here, and he had known me before I left, and we had talked about working together to try to find her. That was kind of our little side mission for a while.
Me and Fritz started trying to target this girl, and we started to work on strategies how we can catch her and set up a date with me as a bait.
And so Fritz and his friend Arthur set up a plan to catch and expose Maria.
Fritz actually sent me the WhatsApp number of the scopolamine girl, and I texted the girl. And I said to her, look, we've matched on Bumble, which was obviously a lie, and accidentally unmatched you, but you were so pretty, so I wanted to reach out again. And she actually bought the story, which was kind of a surprise for me because I thought she's gonna smell the bullshit.
And so it appears as if Maria is good game for the encounter.
So I said to her, let's meet up in Parque de Lleras in Poblado. And she said she's gonna come there. So I went to Parque de Lleras with contact with Fritz, and I talked to the police beforehand. I said to them, look, I'm meeting this girl. She's coming here with scopolamine. She robbed my friends for thousands of dollars. He nearly probably died. So we probably should catch her, right?
He talked to the police ahead of time, and they had agreed that they would arrest her. When she came into the park, they would arrest her only if they found the drug in her purse.
It's afternoon in Parque Lleras on the day of the encounter, and Arthur, who is the bait, waits nervously for Maria to show up. Inspired by the Obiland channel, they wait patiently, but it appears that Maria is not as foolish as they had thought.
Anyway, the scopolamine girl never showed up. I was waiting there. I tried to do an undercover video, so I was actually talking to folks in the Parque de Lleras, like, look, I'm going to meet the scopolamine girls, please record the whole thing. But unfortunately, she never came. I think she just tried to minimize the risk and minimize the time effort and just go to the stupidest gringo she can find, straight to his place and rob everything that he has. I think that's her strategy.
We weren't able to connect with her, and I always had it in the back of my mind that one day I'm going to run into this girl. I mean, I was out a lot. You know, I was not like when I came back here, I was rarely in my apartment. I was always out having lunch or walking around or going to the gym. And so I was just always out and about. And I feel it was a matter of time. And if she was still in the area, it was just going to be a matter of time. And she's very unique looking because of all the plastic surgery she's had done in her face.
And so confident that Fritz had now left the country, it's another Saturday night and Maria's out in Provenza with another victim.
I was with my friend Kevin, and we had decided to go to Provenza to walk around. We were going to eat and then hit up a nightclub or bar. We did that. Kevin met a girl at the first nightclub we went to, and he was busy dancing, and so I started just walking around on my own.
At that very same time, the Obiland film crew had been recording an episode with Brenda, who had been a victim of scopolamine a couple of months earlier. She was with Boogie, a kidnap attempt victim, and on that fateful night, they had been walking around Provenza, enjoying the nightlife.
And I couldn't believe it. I was walking along, and there she is, holding hands with what looked to be another American guy.
And so in sheer coincidence, Fritz comes face to face with Maria, the scopolamine queen who drugged and robbed him and stole thousands of dollars.
She locked eyes with me, and I could just tell by her facial expression, she was like, oh my God.
Maria is already pulling back, understanding the gravitas of the situation, and within seconds, her and her friend will make a run for it.
And so I took off after her. I wanted to restrain her. There's normally police everywhere in the Provenza area, so I thought, well, let me just grab her.
Brenda and Boogie were there to witness the events.
I saw just this American just grab a woman like this, and then he started saying like, help me, police, police, and she started running away, like.
Ironically, there was no police anywhere around. She got away from me. I was trying to be as gentle as I could, just wanted to restrain her, to get her to the police, or hopefully the police would come over.
He said police a couple of times before she actually tried to get away. Like at first I think she was just
she knew she was busted.
She understood something was going on.
But she did get away. I had to run her down again. She was trying to get away, so it turned into this cat and mouse thing where I'm chasing her, running after her.
And she ran fast, man. I saw
quick.
that cheetah, like, one moment she was in my eyes, the next moment she was in between like a path. I was like, holy.
I thought she was going to get away at one point because she really put on her turbo boosters, but I was able to grab her, restrain her again over by some bamboo, and it was by the stream. Kind of felt like we were bumping into tables and there was all kinds of people in the way.
Like, that shows that something happened. Like, there's no way that this American guy in a third world country, you know,
she knew
will do something like that. Like, even if you were trying to like rape her or do something, like, it wouldn't have been that way. You know, there was just no way.
An innocent person would be like.
Detained by Fritz, Maria protests her innocence.
Holding her, I was screaming for someone to just come help me restrain her, and no one wanted to help, including the guy that she had been with or was holding hands with. He wanted nothing to do with the situation either, so I really felt all alone. There were people everywhere, especially the second time I had her restrained. There were people everywhere just watching, but nobody wanted to help, no matter how loud or I pleaded.
Maria struggles and throws an object from her bag.
In the meantime, with all this commotion, she was able to reach into her bag while I had her restrained and grab the drug and throw it into the nearby stream, you know, of all the places. And that was our smoking gun that we needed here, and now it was gone.
Still detained, Maria is protesting her innocence.
She scope-upping me a month ago. Stole everything. My money.
It's yours, right?
Police and other officials finally arrive on the scene.
Ella scope-upping me un mes. Sí. Ella. Bravo.
But what are the chances of me trying to restrain a girl, and just so happens that another female who got drugged is walking down the street? That's more than just chance, to be just bumping into each other randomly, like, oh, happened to me too, oh, let me translate for you.
Who can translate? Who can translate? Who can translate? She stole everything from me, and she's scoping me. I woke up 2 days later. I woke up 2 days later. I already talked to a detective. Sí, Rabo. Muy mala. Hey, who has my phone? Can I have it? Thank you. Is there a translator? Okay. So 1 month ago.
Un mes atrás.
Oh, what?
Un mes atrás. Un mes atrás.
What she do to you?
Okay, 1 month ago, I met her on
Yo
Bumble.
la encontré en una aplicación de
Bumble.
Bumble.
And then I took her back to my
Y la llevé a
apartment
mi apartamento.
and she scopapined
Ella
me
me puso
in a
escopolamina,
drink. She
me-
stole my computer,
me
my
llevó el
phone,
laptop, el teléfono,
all, todos moneda.
todo su
or dinero.
su identificación.
And then I woke up
Y se
20
levantó
20
como
hours
a las
later.
20 horas después.
and I'm lucky to be alive.
I actually got scoped and drugged in Cali.
Did you
Oh,
saw
wow.
her here?
Yeah, I met her here. She met me actually right over here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
How long ago was
the
that?
detective told me that I'm lucky to be alive.
How long
Yeah.
ago was
There's
that?
been 40 Americans dead.
Yeah,
I'm lucky to be
it's-
alive.
that's
I
the
only
worst
took a
part.
tiny sip because she held my mouth and she poured it and I got a little bit in my mouth. It's her. It is her
Like
100%.
attempted murder, really.
Yeah.
There's like so many guys are dying.
It's her 100%. I got photos of her.
Can I see?
We got her on the security camera and everything. And there's a big detective that's been trying to get her because he thinks she's responsible for a couple
Do you have
deaths.
the physical reference
A
number?
detective thinks that she's responsible for a few deaths on
Well,
Americans.
like, I mean, I think this is someone we've been looking at as well. This
Yeah.
is a girl. It's been floating around all the Facebook
It's her.
groups. Yeah,
It-
she's got the fake ID.
It's her.
Sure.
100%. 100%.
Oh shit.
I'm sober. I haven't had a drop. I haven't had a drop to drink tonight. She scopapined me. She put it in my drink, and I woke up like 15 hours later. Stole my computer.
The police.
No,
the
I'm by
police say
myself.
that you should to make the notice with her. To her.
What?
You should make the notice. The notice.
What is the
You already
notice?
did it?
What?
Notice did it?
Oh yeah. A detective is looking for
You
her.
already have
I filed a police
the-
report.
Hay un detectivo que está buscando.
I have the police report.
Buscando a ella.
A detective is already trying to find her,
El detective
and I have the
está tratando de
detective's
encontrarla a
name.
ella.
Mira. The detective.
Detective.
Fritz begins looking through his phone for information pertaining to the detective he's been working with.
Okay.
Show the evidence.
Detective.
Hey man, look.
Sí, con permiso, permiso.
Detective. Okay.
With everything happening so quickly, Fritz is put on the spot and under pressure to find information relating to the detective he's been working with.
Detective. So this was around.
Maria doesn't like the look of our cameras and turns away her head. Taken by surprise, Fritz is frantic looking through his phone for evidence against Maria. Maria speaks to the police officers, protesting her innocence.
Okay. Who needs to see these messages?
The police were really just trying to do an investigation on the scene. I felt it would have been better maybe if they would have arrested her, cuffed her, and done the investigation at the police station. In the street, I was faced with having to come up with photos and other stuff from my phone, which I just didn't have organized.
That's the detective that's trying to find her.
What do you want to say? I got you.
Oh, tell him.
¿Cuándo dice él que fue?
Para él fue hace hace un mes. Ella estaba aquí con otra
Y
persona.
contrató el servicio.
Sí, the
Le contrató el servicio y
Sí.
pasó eso.
Y pasó
Sí.
eso, ella las comunicó y después él se levantó a las 20 horas y todo se fue.
¿Cómo denunció?
Jamar El.
Pues ahí está el detective
Sí.
ayudándela, porque es
Mira.
que ella también está, la han visto
Mira.
allá en página. Ya. Ahí-
Ella, mira, yeah, tú,
Mírala para que vea.
yeah, tú,
Pero mírala para que vea.
yeah, sí, tú.
Fritz shows the police officers photos of Maria, but unknown to Fritz, Maria has cleverly doctored her pictures so they don't entirely match with how she currently looks.
And the police are trying to match up tattoos with the photos, which did match.
The photos are clearly Maria's body, but the face has been edited, as well as some tattoos, which confuse the authorities.
Did you look in the purse? What? She threw it?
She threw a bunch of shit.
Oh my God.
Ella
Tell him.
corrió, pero es que el momento que ella la vio, porque el momento que ella la vio, ella corrió. Entonces, pues uno, ¿quién va a saber?
No.
Pero porque él va a
You had her purse, right?
una persona extraña.
Pero mira la foto, me está confundiendo, amor. Usted no
She
tiene
had
que
it.
usted no sabe.
No, they're saying that they can't take her because it's what
She-
occurred
because-
a month ago.
because
What
she-
they can
because
do-
she
what
threw
they-
it?
Yeah, well, because they can't find it. And also, but the other thing is, what they can do is they will give you her information so that you
take the
can continue
detective?
to do with the detective, because now he can find her, like by her
Okay.
name and her stuff.
And tell her that
And
it
then
was 100% her.
And then you're gonna take our
you really
number.
sure?
You're gonna
100%. I met her right
And you have
here.
any more pictures of her?
I have the video, but it got.
Where is the video? Let me see the video. Have the video.
No, the landlord sent it to the detective. All my conversations with the detective are here. I wouldn't go through this embarrassment.
And just see if he picks
Yeah,
up.
I can.
Call him.
Call him detective, because then you have to.
A representative from the mayor's office requests that Fritz call the detective. He tries to call him, but it's about 3:30 a.m. in the morning.
That she can also put an announcement on you because of how you dropped her.
Perfect. She can.
She can't give you the picture. She's only gonna give you the number. Take it because they got it anyway. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Alejandra
Salgado Ortega. Salgado.
The police provide useful information related to Maria, which will prove to be very useful.
641.
And they were not able to keep her under arrest. And so they had to let her go, which was really disheartening because I felt I finally had her. And, you know, it was a mess, you know, trying to get her.
At the end of the day, they let her go because it had happened previously. So in that moment, she was not a criminal.
Maria continues protesting her innocence, and at this moment, it appears as if she has avoided being brought to justice. But little does she know that our guy was watching from the corners and will link up with Fritz to bring justice. If you'd like to find out what happened next, please keep watching this video. It's been a couple of days since the events in Provenza, where Fritz attempted to detain Maria.
So after the Provenza incident, it appeared as though she'd gotten arrested. She left with the police, but I later found out that she hadn't been. And I believe that was largely due to lack of evidence. You know, I didn't expect to run into her, and I didn't have the police report on me. I didn't have a bunch of photos on my phone. So based on that, it appeared as though they let her go, and we did confirm that she was out roaming around again. So that's when I enlisted the help of the Obiland team, and I talked with Obi, and we devised a plan to try to track her down.
I'll be honest with you, I've never met a guy like Fritz, ever. To be honest, he could have done this whole thing on his own. He didn't need me. He didn't need Obiland. He didn't need our support. But it's understandable because this guy, he's ex-military. He was hell-bent on getting justice, completely hell-bent on getting justice. And I was there. I was in Provenza. I oversaw the events which happened that night. And I'll be honest with you, I was completely disgusted at the way the police treated him. He was treated as if he wasn't the victim, as if he was the person, as if he was the criminal. They even made some suggestions that they could arrest him for him trying to detain Maria. But I was convinced, because I've seen her before, you know, people had made complaints about her before, and I was convinced that this girl, she's a criminal, because there was no reason for her to run off the way that she did in Provenza.
And so Fritz and the Obiland team will link up to try and bring Maria to some kind of justice.
When Fritz and we got in contact a day or two after the events in Provenza, he shared with me all the information he had about this girl. Fritz provided me with enough information as he could, and with that information, I enlisted the help of one of my friends, investigators who works as part of Sehin. He's a detective. We had her ID, so we were able to run that through and get critical information such as where she lives, where she stays. And with that information, we decided to do some reconnaissance.
Through our sources, we were able to find her address, and that's when we started pulling recon missions, trying to just gather intel on her habits and formulate a plan to catch her again. And we were going both during the day and at night.
Fritz, he was so determined. You know, he will go on reconnaissance missions in the daytime, nighttime. He was just so focused and so determined. And I think it's because, as I said, he has that ex-military background where, you know, he just felt played. He felt played by what happened to him. He felt, I had this girl. This girl, first of all, she drugged me. She got away with it. Then I had this girl, I caught her, and now she's gotten away again. So I think he was super determined this time.
But she was very evasive. I mean, this was difficult. It was like the girl was never home.
You know, we will drive around, we'll hang outside her apartment building, outside her block, hoping to get a glimpse of her. It was so difficult. She just never appeared.
We're not going to show you exactly where we are at this point, but you know, we're working with, this time on this case, we're actually working with the police. You know, we've got our detective on the inside who we're going to go and see later on. So we're working, yeah, Andres is his name. Andres, yeah. So we're working with the detectives and the police. She thinks that she's gotten away. She thinks that she's gotten away, but she doesn't know that we're monitoring her and we're looking at her. All these girls, we're all going to ensure that they face justice, you know. At the least, if they don't face justice, we're going to expose them. So that's the intention. Fritz is one of those guys, one of those gringos who's come over here and he wants justice.
I hold grudges.
Yeah.
And I got a grudge on this.
Yeah. You know, he wants justice, and we're going to get that justice. And this girl, she has no idea what we've got in store for her. Anyway, we've got our guys coming in. So it is what it is.
Even though we knew where she lived and we'll camp out there for like 6-7 hours at a time, we just could never find her. It's like she almost disappeared. She just disappeared. And we were sure that this is her address because our detective, who I trust, my detective, who works in a special branch of Medellin police, the Sehin, she disappeared and it was just frustrating. But still, from the experience that I have of doing this stuff, I told Fritz, listen, we just got to keep on pressing, moving ahead, and hopefully that she'll show up somewhere. They always make a mistake. And that's exactly what happened.
We started putting out profiles in other cities just to try to figure out what's going on, because she clearly wasn't in Medellin anymore. And that's when we got a hit, and that was Bogota.
My agents created different profiles, and we got a match with her in Bogota. As soon as we got a match with her in Bogota, I told one of my security guys and Fritz, listen, you guys got to fly down there and try and make this encounter.
I boarded a flight immediately, and honestly, I booked the ticket so fast. By the time the ticket was purchased, and for me to get in a cab, I was already running late to get to the airport, so I almost missed my flight. And we flew one of our security agents in from Cartagena, and he arrived, and that's when we formulated the plan and plot to get her to our hotel so that we could catch her for good this time. One of our agents quickly set up a date at a restaurant, and I was going to be the one at the hotel to actually catch her because I wanted to be a part of that.
Got some Gato Negro for the big night. Here's our 2 glasses. One of these glasses later is going to have some scopolamine in it, and it won't be getting put in there by me. When she comes in, we're going to get all the lights on. Lewis is going to be hiding in this room right here. He's going to be hiding in here, and we're going to lock the door so that way, because we're sure that when she goes to the bathroom here, she's going to try to open this door to see what's in there. He's going to come busting out just like that. He's going to grab her phone. I'm going to grab her purse, and we're going to put the purse right here. We're going to go through it, which we'll probably find the drugs in there. Then we're going to call the police. Police are going to come busting it through that door. Well, at least that's the plan.
Put it this way, let's just hope that she's able to turn up, like, you know, she comes to the date, whatever. And then she definitely is going to have the drug on her. You know, she's definitely, they say a tiger doesn't change its stripes, or a leopard doesn't change its stripes. So I just reckon that, you know, she's bad news, that girl. She's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Agent number dos.
Okay.
Good luck, guys, man.
Gracias.
Good luck.
Everything was going according to plan. They were giving me regular updates because unfortunately I couldn't be there. Everything was going perfect. I thought to myself, this girl, Maria, she's gonna finally face justice.
The plan was to meet with Maria at an upscale restaurant in Zone T in Bogota.
We had the date set up. She confirmed several times during the day. And then she was running late, which is, I guess, normal in Colombia. And the last message I got was that she was getting in a cab in 10 minutes, and then that was it. I mean, she put us on ice after that. There was no response.
Maria had once again proved how cunning she is, leaving the Obiland team feeling frustrated.
The only explanation that I could come up with was that maybe she found an easier victim. Otherwise, there was nothing that would have made her feel suspicious. There was, you know, we thought it all through. There were no red flags. This was a gringo she was meeting up with, normal looking guy, and she just disappeared.
We don't know why, we don't know what spooked her, don't know what our agent did everything perfectly. We just don't know why she didn't show up. I won't lie to you, I was pissed off. I was annoyed with the situation because what people don't realize is the amount of resources and effort that goes into catching these girls, flying security guys out, flying agents out. It was just completely frustrating because you waste all this time, waste all this effort, waste all this money.
Everyone is frustrated at this point, and I'm feeling responsible because basically I was frantic about getting to Bogota, called in the cavalry. Everyone arrived and everyone's doing their job. I felt like a failure. We were so close. I mean, literally, she said, I'm getting in the cab in 10 minutes. I mean, we were right there.
But our guy and the Obiland team were not about to give up.
At the same time that she had completely disappeared, I had been speaking to my detective who works as part of Sehin, And I'm trying to get him on this documentary, but it's just been difficult. He's not responding. He wants no parts of this. I'd been speaking to him, and he'd been telling me that with the information that we had provided, that they had been making progress in finding Maria. To me, to be honest, I just thought to myself, I've heard that before. And I didn't want to depend solely on them to do these investigations, as I've been through these kind of scenarios before, where the Colombian police tell you that they're doing something and they're working on finding the girl, and in reality they're doing nothing. So I took his words with a pinch of salt and kept pressing ahead.
And Maria, she was still active, still drugging and robbing tourists, only that this time she was doing it more intelligently. And from our investigations, we learned that she was using her friends and accomplices to lure in more victims.
She was now using this new tactic of accompanying her friends on these dates. Luckily, as time went on, one of my agents matched with a girl. That girl had mentioned that she wants to bring along a friend. And the picture that she forwarded to us, or she forwarded to my agent, happened to be Maria. And so we got excited. We said to ourselves, yes, let's agree to meet this girl, and hopefully she brings along her friend, who happens to be Maria. Finally, Maria had reared her head, and we were going to set up a sting. And that's exactly what we did.
And so the Obiland team prepared to finally catch Maria and bring her to justice.
Is the girl here? The girl? Where? Huh? Are they there? How about the cops? Okay.
With the police close on standby, our guy is monitoring proceedings from outside the apartment. The Obiland agents walk in with two girls following inside to the apartment.
And she said she wanted to show up with one of her friends. And so we're waiting there for two girls pull up in a taxi, but neither one of them is her. And they were there clearly to rob us. We let the girls come in, and they were clearly on a mission to get us, so we entertained them for a little while. But because neither one of them was Maria, we really didn't want to start going after all these other random girls, because there's a lot of them out there.
The agents have set up the undercover cameras, and it quickly becomes very clear through conversations and other signals that these two women don't have the best intentions for our agents. But the problem is that neither one of them is Maria, and she had fooled the team once again.
Another girl turned up. It wasn't Maria. I was completely frustrated. I lost it, especially as I had pretended to be a homeless guy. I was actually sitting next to a homeless guy who was smoking goodness knows what in his pipe, observing the proceedings.
Who's the person on your profile? Ask them this, but be careful. And I'm watching from you outside the window. Can you see? Look, by the homeless people right there.
And we just couldn't go forward. My agent, he came to me and he said, hey, listen, Maria didn't turn up. There's another girl that turned up. And we had to abort the mission. I had to abort the mission. This was, another frustration for me.
All right. Get rid of the girls, man.
We had to abort that mission. It just didn't make sense to continue because, there was no crime notices, no denuncia, no police report against those two girls who had shown up.
Neither one of them was Maria, so we weren't looking to start up a whole nother deal, and we just don't have time to go after all of them. So we aborted that mission.
Another day of frustration, another day of the team feeling like Maria girl is just such a slippery bitch. she had played us once again, and the frustration was just growing daily.
But with thousands of tourists in her city, Medellin, Maria just couldn't keep her head down, with more victims reporting to Obiland.
Now, Maria, she was making mistakes. And those mistakes were, she was very, very active. And more people were emailing me and writing to us saying that this girl has drugged and robbed me.
Apart from Fritz, one of her latest victims, who declined to appear on this documentary, would be the second catalyst that would lead to the downfall of Maria. As she closes the door, he staggers out, completely confused.
And so we kept on feeding that information to our detective in Seyhin. And they were very grateful with the information that we were providing, giving them constant updates that Maria was still, out there drugging and robbing tourists and foreigners.
But Obi was staying surprisingly calm. And we later found out that he had been working with a detective with Seyhin, which is it's kind of like the special force in the police department. And he had been working on the Maria case, and they'd been building it up.
I didn't really share that information with Fritz. I kind of kept it, to myself, because I didn't want to get his hopes up or anything like that.
And so our guy continued working closely with his contacts within the Seyhin, sharing information about Maria and her latest victims. The Obiland team had a new concrete plan for Maria and were about to execute it, but we were advised to hold fire.
So my contact, he told me, listen, Obi, there is something big which is going to be happening around March 18th, that they've got a good lead on Maria, and, something big is going to happen.
We knew the police were working on Maria. We knew that they had a case on her, but we didn't know how serious they were. I had my doubts because I had caught her once already, literally physically brought her to the police, and they let her go. So we really didn't know how serious, but they were in fact building a really strong case against her, and with the help of Obi, discreetly.
And so 4 months after drugging and robbing Fritz and a couple of other victims after him, it could be that justice would catch up to Maria. For years, she had gotten away with her crimes, with reports against her stretching back 5 years ago. She had grown accustomed to getting away with her crimes, and even when caught red-handed by Fritz, she was let go by the police. And so emboldened, she probably believed that nothing could go wrong for her. But she's about to find out.
No, pero yo te calmado. Yo te reviso, tranquilo, yo reviso. María Alejandra Salgado Ortega, identificada con cédula de ciudadanía 1 6 5 6 1. Te voy a notificar una orden de captura que tienes. La orden de captura 005. Escúchame primero.
Esté pendiente, María Alejandra. Háblese y escuche.
¿Por qué tienes esa orden de captura? Por unos delitos. Concierto para delinquir. Hurto calificado agravado. Hurto calificado menor cuantía. Listo. Esta orden fue proferida por el juzgado 16 penal de control de garantía de Medellín. Listo. Te voy a leer unos derechos. Si no entiendes los derechos, me dices para yo explicártelo. Listo. El hecho que se le atribuye el motivo de su captura y el funcionario que lo ordenó. Derecho a indicar a la persona a quien se le deba comunicar su aprehensión. Derecho a guardar silencio.
Maria is under arrest and is now being read her rights.
A declarar en contra de su cónyuge, compañero permanente o pariente dentro del 4º grado de consanguinidad, o civil o segundo de afinidad. Derecho que tiene a designar y entrevistarse con un abogado de confianza en el menor tiempo posible. De no poder hacerlo, el Sistema Nacional de Defensoría Pública proveerá su defensa. Entendido estos 4 Derecho, listo. En esos momentos, espérate, en esos momentos nos vas a acompañar para la civil a hacer todos los actos urgentes, listo. Sí, te toca y te tenemos que llevar para...
Interestingly, you know, because we had our inside sources inside the police department, which gave us unedited footage of her arrest where they didn't fuzz out her face. It was a really clear video. And in that video, she's basically saying the same exact things she was saying when I grabbed her and was holding her. No, 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 no. And, you know, one kind of funny point was when I yelled at the police and was like, she scopolamine me. She's like, no, no, pointing at me. But it's really kind of comical how she responded and said the same exact things when the police arrested her as when I grabbed her and brought her to the police.
Hacer todos los actos urgentes, listo. Sí, te toca y te tenemos que llevar para presentarte a la fiscalía.
No me lleve.
Aparece, por favor.
No me lleve, que me van a dejar allá. No me lleve, me van a dejar allá, amigo. Sí, me van a dejar allá. No me lleve. Me van a dejar allá, amigo. Sí.
Tengo que presentarnos. Nosotros no sabemos. Necesitamos presentarnos. Listo. Un buzo. Un buzo. ¿Tienes un buzo por ahí? Un saco, un saco.
Jefe, Grupo Contraatracos de la SIGIN.
By the time the news broke out with this arrest, they had actually been arrested 10 days earlier on March 18th. And Obi knew about it. I didn't. But the rest of the world found out soon after.
So this all happened on March 18th, 2025. I didn't share this information with Fritz initially because I wanted to be sure that there were going to be concrete charges brought against Maria, that she was actually going to be prosecuted and go to jail for these crimes.
Our contact within the Seyhen police shared with us Maria's actual arrest documents. We also have other documents related to her sentence for the crimes committed. 10 days after her arrest, Maria was paraded alongside 4 other girls who the media dubbed as the Las Barbies. The authorities painted them out to be part of all the same gang, in what could be perceived as a public relations victory for the Medellin police.
The Fiscalia actually rounded up 5 or 6 girls and they paraded them, and Maria was one of those girls. She was in shame. She had her head down in the parade. The media labeled these girls as Les Barbies, and they're going to be off the streets at least for the next 5 years.
We've been told that she's going to get 3 to 5 years. Her attorney is trying to use the media as an excuse, basically saying that this is all just a media stunt and they're trying to make an example out of his client.
But I'm glad that on this occasion that the Colombian justice system actually worked, because they just completely threw the whole thing out, labeled as bullshit.
So I've just finished speaking with the detective, and it is confirmed they do have Maria. They've got some other girls too in their sting operation. This has been a long time coming. We've been working really hard on this. And I'm not sure on the judicial process here how long it actually takes. You know, they may be very quick, or this may drag out for months. We're not sure, but it'll be very interesting to see what she's actually handed down for punishment.
Today, which is July, this month, which is July 2025, Maria's still in prison, and you know, she's going to be there for at least the next 5 years.
In the end, I feel that I got justice. I know there's a lot of people who have come to Colombia, been robbed. I know they probably deep down wish they could catch
the girl that did this to them or get justice in some way. I went out and got it myself. I wasn't going to rely on anyone else. I went out, you know, was constantly looking for months for this girl. And when I had the opportunity, I seized on it. And I feel like I got justice. Not only with me catching her myself and getting the ball rolling on this, but in the end, you know, now she's locked up, she's incarcerated. This ended up being a very high-profile case.
Looking back retrospectively on everything that had happened with Fritz, I'm glad that he approached Maria in the way he did. That chance, you know, meeting, bumping into each other in Provenza kind of like kicked off and sparked off a new investigation into Maria again. And I'm glad that the Obiland team were part of the reason why she's now behind bars.
In the end, I got my own justice and I physically caught the bitch. Okay.
Not all our videos are monetized, and some have even been removed for being too real. And so if you like what we're doing, you can make a donation via Super Chat, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. If you've been affected by anything in this documentary, you can also book a consultation with us to get some advice.